Welcome to episode 9 of PIPE and GEEK podcast. We are reading yet another blog. It is the same guy, Robert James Steele. And of course, we are here. Uh,
Absolutely. This is actually it's a follow-up on the last blog. This is sort of a part 2 on our last episode.
and it is also a follow up to another blog post which we have not covered. But yeah, it is all in the same theme.
Mhm.
So if you go into our description, you can find the article. It is called Banging Rocks Together. It's a species defining. So, just a little bit of an introduction into this, and I have a little personal story about it. If you've played Portal game, which is very good, it's like one of the most classical games. Uh, I don't remember if it was Portal 1 or Portal 2, but there was this moment. Back then, I actually did not know English. I was playing in Russian. Uh, so yeah, I don't remember if it's first one or second one, but there was some one map where the guy is throwing some kind of liquid at the wall and it produces portals. And he says, "Full disclosure, I don't know what's gonna happen to you here, but we're just throwing the science at the wall and seeing what's gonna happen." And at the time, I kind of remembered it because it was like a funny pun because he was literally throwing liquid at the wall and I had to go through that liquid. Like maybe 10 years later, I found out that it's actually an English phrase, something like throwing at the wall and seeing what sticks, or something like that. And that is essentially how I nowadays I appreciate this phrase because this is essentially referring to the scientific method. Um, when I was reading about a few comments, uh, some people said that science as a noun was never meant to exist. There was scientific method, so an adjective, but it was never meant to become a noun as science, that study that would encompass the entire being of the universe or something. Not to bore you with details, but scientific method is essentially it's making observations, what's happening in the world, making a hypothesis to explain away why it works the way it works, and then testing it. Like in case of rocks, like you would see sometimes when the rocks clash together, there's a spark. So how about I take two extra sharp rocks and my hypothesis is it's going to produce more sparks. I tested. Well, no, that's not happening. So then maybe can take two blunt rocks, and that's going to create more sparks. Well, that's not happening either. And you just test it away until you eventually arrive at a conclusion of what actually produces more sparks. And yeah, that's why here Rob defined it as a banging rocks together as a way, I guess, to describe scientific method. I actually like the to say throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks because yeah, that's what I essentially remembered from back then. And yeah, that's essentially to define what we are talking about here.
Interesting you brought up the Portal games because I was actually playing it last night and it is a really big well not what you said, but obviously there's like the moment you mentioned the we'll just throw the wall throw science at the wall and see what sticks. It is actually quite a good game for sort of like I guess the method because the whole game is based off you're in a obviously a lab experiment pretty much and you're playing with these portal guns and again sort of like figuring it out as you go along and that's kind of I guess you could view as a metaphor for these people in universities sort of they're in their labs doing their experiments and building these things and sort of seeing what happens. Whereas in the Portal game, it's basically you and this AI sort of talking about it, figuring out here. Whereas here, we're sort of stepping in and viewing how how you can do it better instead of an evil AI that, spoiler alert, is trying to kill you.
Hmm. Understandable. I actually had a neighbor kid who
Mm-hmm.
was like hyperactive, and I was like, try this game. Actually, he was like, I think he was like 7, and
Mm-hmm.
he never really played any more complicated games. Let's say, and it was actually funny to watch how in like 2 hours he went from not understanding how a map works. Like he was lost in the room. Like all he
Mm-hmm.
had to do to escape the room is to put a portal here, put a portal there, and just walk through it.
Mm.
He went from completely being lost in this to actually being able to solve some simple riddles. So that was actually quite a quite a funny thing to watch. And
It's
yeah,
yeah, no, it's an interesting game, isn't it? Because it actually Well, it makes you use your brain. It is definitely it's they consider it more of a puzzle game, don't they? And then you got like Portal 2, which could be two-player puzzle game. So it's pretty good, especially if you've got a young child that likes games and you want them to have like a good game for them to sort of figure stuff out in, or like what's it? Make you think about what your next steps are. Portal, phenomenal.
Hmm. Yeah, and with that introduction, bang. But before that, hey listeners, we get it. Sometimes you've got questions and browsing through endless FAQs just isn't cutting it. I mean, we do have Discord and Telegram where you could ask us questions directly. We're very responsive there. But maybe you want to hear human interaction for something important. A lot of people value that, especially those who are, on the elder side. We get in the universities, there are elder professors. So why not make it easy on yourself and give us a call?
Yes, just pick up the phone and dial +44 0161 399 4283.
from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, Monday to Friday.
Whether it's a quick question, a bit of help you need, or you just want to chat with a real person, we're here for you.
No robots, no runaround, just friendly folks ready to give you the answers you need and fast. So, next time you're stuck, remember this number +44 0161 399 4283. Available 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, Monday to Friday. We're ready when you are. In Rocks Together is species defining. There are many theories of why we became more advanced. Some people say it's because of, well, in this case, the theory is that because we were better at banging rocks together. Others say it's because we sleep better, aka our brains actually have better efficiency at processing information while we sleep, unlike other animals that are actually not sleeping, they're like half sleeping.
Mm.
Others say it's because we invented cooking, which allowed us to save more time, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's one of the theories. It reads, it's actually pretty recent, from 14th of November, like 8 days ago from the time of recording of this video. Or put another way, whether it is Newton's theory of gravity, the post-it note. If you watched the previous episode, you know Rob loves post-it notes.
He
Or
really
even,
does,
yeah,
yeah.
or even Alexander Fleming discovering penicillin. The value of banging rocks together, or serendipitous invention, cannot be underestimated. I looked up this word, serendipitous. It essentially means an unexpected good fortune. So, yeah, the more funny English word you know. As an addendum to the Andrew
Hey,
Flax
hey, hey,
article.
hey, hey, hold on. There's nothing funny about my language. Thank you very much. Oh, it's very
Mhm.
serious.
It's a it's just quite a serendipitous occasion here. Has an addendum to the Andrew Flack article. It is what you do that counts. So it's a follow up to that article. Maybe we'll read it someday. And following my visit with James Baker, oh boy, CENGFITFRSA at GEIC, in parentheses, thanks, James. There's a link to all of those acronyms. So if you want to know what those are, just
I
click the
actually went
link.
to I went to school with a guy called James Baker. Actually,
Hmm.
it's
A lot of
literally
bakers.
it's no help whatsoever. Just a little law for you there.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's the same guy. Who knows? There are
Hey,
only so many James Bakers that exist.
I was gonna say, I'm surely he can't be that popular of a name.
But first, did you know that even top companies like Coinbase struggle with talent retention, averaging just about zero point 0.8 years, so under 1 year? Web3 faces a big problem with unqualified applicants, some scammers, overall CV spammers, leading to short-term hires. Applications like Passion, they are misaligned with the project ethos. This disconnect reduces long-term commitment to missions and goals. Well, Arbeito fixes this. Arbeito is a limited membership Web3 jobs platform that combines AI tools, vetting, and job management tools, as well as third-party ad boosts. We are maximizing the number of eyeballs on your job post. Join today by going to our link tree in the description and look for arbeito.io. I grow increasingly frustrated that we are really missing an innovation trick globally, and what I saw at GEIC, in a small
Yeah,
way,
GEIC
yeah,
or Geek. It's in Manchester.
Oh, is that how they pronounce it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's the Graphene Engineering Innovation Centre, or which they acronym is GEEK.
Well, it's pretty fitting,
Yeah.
to be honest. And what I saw at Geek in a small way is what a potential solution could look like. For those that do not know, the Graphene Engineering Innovation Centre, aka Geek, uh, for those who don't know, by the way, graphene it's essentially a layer of graphite, and graphite it's that thing that makes up a pencil. So like this black thingy uh, that the pencil is made out of to write on paper. That's graphite, and one layer of it is called graphene. That's because the graphite is made out of layers of graphene, and because of that, it is very simple to write with it because like the layers separate from each other very easily. So horizont- horizontally it's separating very easily, but vertically it's very durable,
Mm.
which is why it has like a lot of applications because of uh, this peculiar um, uh, characteristic of it. Was set up to bridge the gap between academic research and real world applications for the use of graphene, although it is extending into other novel materials such as amexine. I think that's how you pronounce it. Geek follows on from the creation of the National Graphene Institute. There are more things that have to do with graphene, both of which are part of the University of Manchester. So essentially, what Noodle introduced to us in last paragraph. What
Yes.
Geek is very good at is what I refer to as banging rocks together. Funny we mention rocks because you could call graphite a rock in some context,
Yeah.
or allowing for the melding of ideation and implementation. So, whilst it is an academic center, its focus is much more aligned with commercial applications. Just to stop there. Normally, universities are full of, you could say, geeks, which are usually just academics, and they don't do much in terms of commercial thingies. But so this is quite a different approach because they are focused on commercial and how novel materials can be employed in industry. Examples I saw during my visit range from amexine, a novel two-dimensional material, to novel building materials utilizing waste products blended with graphene. Okay, I'm just imagining some garbage mixed with graphene. Well, waste products are not garbage. They are very different, but yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. To novel large-scale battery storage technologies. Geek is very well equipped to allow industry to test ideation in relation to the use of novel materials. So, if I'm trying to create a more environmentally friendly or renewable plastic bottle, for example, I can move into Geek, use their equipment and materials to test my assumptions, bang, bang, rock to, bang rocks together, and see what works. So, Geek is formalizing the ideation of proof of concept for novel materials. It is creating a pathway from ideation to implementation and creating the space for that magic to happen. And if you've listened to our previous episodes, ideation to implementation is a thing you'll hear a lot because that's what PIPE is all about.
Did you know up to 45% of recruiter talent database are dormant? This means 45% of your revenue is left on the table.
Wow.
I know, right? But if you repurpose your talent database by redirecting them to nascent industry technology in high growth, you can share a portion of the high growth sweat equity too. How? The Pipe Associate Network. Bring new opportunities to talent within university-born R&D IP startups worldwide and earn a part of the future. Go to our description for the link tree or sign up on www.thepipecompany.co.uk and start your adventure of the future today. Okay, so I was sort of basically saying it was like, as history shows us, the sort of serendipitous or repetitive invention or the sort of banging rocks together, it often leads to groundbreaking inventions. So whether that's the discovery, if we're thinking way back when, discovery and management of fire, or sneezing into a petri dish, which led to the development of antibiotics.
That's kind
However,
of surprising because I thought it was more to do with the petri dish had fungus in it, nothing to do with sneezing. Or maybe he had fungus in his nose or something.
Well, maybe we never know because it was antibodies are. I think they
Antibiotics.
came from antibiotics came from humans though. No, it's like a naturally made thing. I'm not sure if my scientists sound on that or not. It probably isn't. It sort of all goes together though. Talking about the problems we face and have always faced in the evolution of inventions, getting others to buy in and finding the time, patience, and capital to develop them.
Bro,
That
imagine if I was trying to sell. Look, I sneezed into the petri dish. This is gonna save humanity from the World War II diseases.
yeah,
Who's gonna buy this?
exactly. It sounds mental, but you've just sort of the whole idea of the banging rocks keeps together. It's the idea of keep on going, isn't it? It's don't stop, otherwise. Um,
Believe in, hold on to that feeling.
are you done?
Okay, sorry.
Are you done?
Yeah, yeah, I'm done.
um, but that's the whole idea, isn't it? You bang rocks together. Well, again, you don't actually bang rocks together. It's the metaphor is if you keep doing the same thing, you probably won't win. But if you keep going at it,
Well,
something will
you
develop.
smash different rocks together, not the same rocks.
Exactly, not the same rocks. You change rocks, you change out, and at some point you're going to get what you're looking for.
I mean, it's that thing. Thomas Edison invented 1,000 ways a bulb doesn't work, and one way it does.
Exactly.
So at one point, you're gonna get lucky.
But going back to Geek, obviously at Geek, there's it's a pretty clear commercial angle that they have for external commercial concerns to access the equipment and expertise required to prove concepts. There is also an academic outlet for researchers to harness space and expertise, which is also leveraging university research. An example would be Maxine as a material being tested at Geek for commercial applications, whilst the material itself being supplied to researchers globally for them to test assumptions in the lab, learn about it, additional material properties, and feed that back to the Maxine team at Geek. So, what's it? Virtuous circle.
Virtuous.
Virtuous. All giving. Very lovely. However, again, anyone involved in a very early stage ideation and validation knows there are problems. And this is true whether you are a researcher within a university or an individual with an idea. So, how do you validate?
Yeah, and now I'm going to read the story about FLAC, the fuel level alarm gauge, and I'm just going to have Noodle confirm if this is what happened, which happened actually before he was even born. But yeah.
I mean, I'll let you know. I'll do my best to remember.
Yeah, you better remember something that happened before you were born. Back in the midst of time, when Rob was a young man, he was invited to a meeting at the Bristol Port Company as an observer. Invited as an observer, that sounds funny, but yeah. During that meeting, the client's phone rang and was answered constantly. There was a clearly an evolving problem at the port. At the end of the meeting, he asked what the issue was and was told the following: large cargo vessels with palletized goods could be easily offloaded when the contents were directly below the large hatches, as this gave access to cranes. This is going to be quite a lot of funny words to do with the industrial thingy, so bear with me. However, once those areas are clear, the crane drops into the hauled forklift trucks, which go back and forth along the ship moving pallets from storage to the hatch area for offloading. Simple enough. Yeah, sure, simple enough, even though I'm struggling to actually picture any of it. However, from time to time, or rather frequently, the forklift runs out of fuel away from a hatch and has to either be moved by another forklift. Uh, okay, so a forklift being moved by another forklift. I feel like I'm playing with the Matryoshka doll, the Russian one, where there's like a Matryoshka inside the Matryoshka. But before that, have you heard of a certain logo designer that managed to turn $2,000 into $200,000?
I have not. Please tell me more.
Oh well, his name is Dustin Moskowitz, a simple designer whose genius foresight in an early university startup, Facebook, changed his life. Yes, he designed the Facebook logo. And you can do this too by contributing to nascent technology startups from universities of today through PIPE Associate Network. Find out how you can get started today by going into the description, our link tree, and look for www.arbato.io/ban. Moved by another forklift to the hatch, offloaded, refueled, and reinserted, or the driver has to come out of the hold, find some fuel, bleed the system, clean the mess, drive to the hatch, be lifted out, fully fuel up, and then go back in. Both scenarios take time out of the day and the offloading process. So essentially, he would either have to bring the forklift to the fuel or bring the fuel to the forklift. And from how he describes it, both are roughly equivalent in terms of time wasted. In my mind, this was crazy. So I asked, why don't the drivers keep an eye on the fuel gauge? Yeah, it would be very helpful. Like when you're about to run out of fuel in a car, you don't just stop and look for fuel or ask for your car to be delivered. You actually go to the gas station before you run out of it, only to be told that the first thing that gets broken on one of those forklifts is the fuel gauge, as it is where the forklift operator puts their foot, parenthesis heel, when waiting. It would all be fine if they simply had somewhere else to put their feet on instead of just breaking the gauge. But I guess that's not realistic to expect those guys to not do. So, a problem. And I set out about creating a solution. This is where the flag comes in. He developed an audible gauge based on an M5 bolt. Yeah, he really sounds like a dad explaining all of this
Yeah.
concepts. A sensor and some electrics and an audible alarm. This allowed for a forklift to move about, for fuel to slosh about the tank, for the audible alarm to sound. So I guess that's like a liquid sound, that one that is very audible, only when there was a risk of fuel starvation, thus allowing time for the driver to get themselves to a fuel supply before they run out. The audible alarm was loud and could not be switched off until fuel was added, and the device was built to withstand abuse. So that was a solution. Essentially, that was, you know how if you open the fridge for
Mm-hmm.
too long, it starts beeping,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it annoys you until you actually close it. So I guess that's essentially this.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
The flag device was tested and proven to be workable. So he took it to GCB. Do you know what that is? GCB.
GCB rings a bell, but I couldn't.
And CAT. CAT is one of those. I think it's a forklift or like a company that produces stuff like that.
GCB is a. I've got GCB Bank in Ghana or the Global Change Biology. It's
Sounds
an
fitting.
environmental change journal dedicated to shaping the future, which would make
Yeah.
more sense than the Bank of Ghana, I think.
And a CAT is some kind of company that produces uh, like materials and equipment for construction or something like that. But CAT wanted to push.
JCB.
Yep.
I thought you said G as in like Gregor. No, JCB is a digger and trucking company, mostly diggers.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Very famous in the UK. Yeah.
Cat wanted a version that ran on LPG and not diesel. So I had to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, that's fun. Obviously, LPG has much greater risk issues than diesel, but he was a young man and needed solutions, so he decided to bank some rock together. Had a friend, engineer, build a container like a small LPG tank into which LPG could flow from a main LPG tank. Yeah, okay, that's already making me confused. This slave tank, so this is referring to master and slave uh, uh, terminology
Hmm.
in technology, in electronics. This slave tank in the system allowed for two things. Firstly, at this point in the cycle, the LPG was more L than G, uh, i.e., a liquid, not a gas. And so his existing M5 bolt and sensor could read if there was fuel. Secondly, it allowed for the main tank to run down completely whilst maintaining a sufficient reserve that would allow the forklift to drive to a fuel source and swap out the main tank. So it's like when you have an extra battery for your phone, like at the um, Well, no, it's actually like a PC. When the power gets cut, the
Hmm.
PC has like an extra 10 minutes,
Yeah.
which only gets used in those situations. You will not be able to use it just to extend your time and then be stopped. It allowed for the main tank to run down completely whilst maintaining sufficient reserve that would allow the forklift to drive to a fuel source and swap out the main tank. Of course, there were one-way valves, etc., so the whole thing was pretty smart. However, first he needed to test it because at this point it was just a hypothesis, so it needed to be actually proven. In the absence of a lab and in need of a proof of concept, he bought an LPG tank and set up a test of the system. Those things usually cost an arm and a leg, especially if you don't have at this point like a very stable career.
Yeah.
It ended up a test of the system by placing all the flammable slash explosive components. I already like where it's going behind a garden wall. But before we continue, are you looking to invest in real world asset innovation IPs? Maybe one coming from a university? I'll have you know, they have an average ROI of 397%, aka X4. And did you know, the likes of Gatorade and Google actually came out from universities?
Then what you're looking for is the PIPE gDAO, a community led protocol that fairly openly and honestly governs overall community ownership of the various protocols it creates. Join the Web3 real world asset revolution powered by PGF Launchpad with cutting edge university laboratory inventions that could change the world with your support, bridging the gap between university IP real world assets and Web3 capital. The PGF Launchpad connects EU university lab innovators directly with retail investors on the blockchain, included but not limited to automated seizure prediction and prevention, and boost EV driving range significantly. This could be up to 70%.
You can join us by going into the link tree in the description, launchpad.thepipegdao.io. Is a garden wall like made of grass? Or is it like just a fence?
Garden wall. Over the garden wall's kind of a saying, sort of like over in England, sort of like into the unknown. I guess it depends what kind of concept it's in. There's a couple like English people have weird sayings about a lot of things. Um, so there's this whole sort of like over the garden wall into the unknown. Um,
At least it's not literally a garden wall, because that would be even more concerning. Well, I don't know which one is more concerning, honestly, if we think about it. With him on the other side with all the electrics, health and safety was not a factor for when he was a young inventor. Needless to say, he's still alive to tell the tale, and the system worked. And Connor's here, so yeah.
yes, well, you know me.
Yeah, so can you confirm this story?
Oh, I can't confirm the story. I've just read the bit behind the garden wall. So, to set up a test the system by placing all the flammable explosive contents behind a garden wall. So it would have just been like it would have been like an actual brick wall. Not all garden walls are. Some garden walls are made of wood, but I'm assuming. Actually, to be fair, knowing Rob for as long as I have, does he know like physical safety very well? I'm not sure. There was one time we were lighting fireworks, and they fell, and he just sort of stood and looked at it. So I don't think he's got great concern for physical safety. So it could have been anything. But I can confirm that this definitely happened. A story which I was definitely there for before I was alive.
Yeah. I mean, surely he would brag about it, right?
I know, yeah, he brings it up all the time. Yeah. So this flag concept expanded to domestic fuel oil tanks and was eventually acquired by a major oil company when Rob was 26, which sounds great, but by then he had so much debt, the deal put him back on his feet and not a lot more, but you live and learn. So what was the point of the story? It talks about
It,
obviously.
it's the actually the infamous British debt that you come out with. It's not as much as an American debt, but it's still pretty sizable.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Obviously, what is the point of the story? The transition from ideation to implementation is where the risk lies. In his case, the risk was quite literally a life and limb, but in the main, the risk is less acute or final. So, this risk gap exists for all ideation, and crossing it to validation and eventually proof of concept is extremely sort of challenging. This is a gap where that GEEK is helping the NGI to cross by providing the facilities to, again, bang rocks together. But GEEK is unique to graphene and novel 2D materials. So, what about other ideation? Unfortunately, when we're talking about a step forward, this is where the risk element often significantly outweighs the reward, or where the potential downside is greater than the assured upside. And it is this balance which prevent investors and universities through their TTOs from harnessing the opportunities presented to them from oh my god, ideation.
It's that funny word I talked
It's that
about.
funny word. I can never get it right.
Serendipitous.
I hate this
I
reading
only
from the
know
script.
because when I was playing a game, there was a character called Serendipity, and I never understood what it actually meant. I thought it was just a name, honestly.
Stop. Are you looking for a way to make passive income with your online business with a quality partnership that has low startup costs? And the PIPE affiliates and referrals is for you. An affiliate is an individual business that helps promote the PIPE services in exchange for a commission on the sales or leads that generate from their links. To do this, you'll need to join an affiliate program with PIPE, promote PIPE with unique tracking links on your websites, blogs, or social media, or any other channels. You will then go on to earn any commission made when a new user clicks your link and makes a purchase.
You heard that right. When a new user clicks your link or any client of yours and makes a purchase, you earn a commission from it. The referral process using PIPE offers a structured and efficient way for recruiting agencies to connect qualified candidates with potential employers. By leveraging PIPE's capabilities, agencies can enhance the quality of their referrals and improve the chances of candidates being considered for suitable associate positions. There are currently 4 roles: sales associate with a revenue share of 20%, the affiliate with 15%, and on a small scale there's refer with 1% and associate refer also with 1%.
Go to www.thepipecompany.co.uk/associates-affiliates to become an affiliate with the PIPE program today and start generating passive income with long-term potential. What this leads to is a focus on less risky, more evolved ideation, or the backing of researchers and/or ideas that align more effectively with university partners, which may be corporations or to venture capitalists. It means that to de-risk ideation and innovation, the university, via its TTO, must focus on opportunities that are significantly less serendipitous and much more boring, the effects of which is well documented in the European paradox, creates an environment where a researcher discovering something truly novel is shunned in favor of another researcher who is doing something safe. And we know this to be true for our own empirical evidence to the fact. We see it often. We have meetings with researchers whose ideas are not taken seriously by a TTO that does not see alignment with their risk profile, and so the idea is then lost. So what we're doing at PIPE is we have absolutely no issue with the TTO focusing on what it needs to focus on, ideas that meet its internal needs to de-risk, but this should not be at the cost and loss of serendipitous invention. At PIPE, we want to see researchers banging rocks together, and whilst we don't have a geek environment, we do have partners who can help validate and fund these novel early stage TRL1 or equivalent ideas to get them from ideation and towards implementation. It's what our disclosure and validate process is all about. So I say to any university or TTO, keep doing what you're doing if that's what you want to do, but please do not ignore the niche, serendipitous, risky ideas. And if you simply can't manage them or don't have the resources to do something with them, send them to us at Pipe, and we will be but in fair, equitable, open, and honest way.
I just hope that Rob has since learned the value of safety since he was 26.
God knows.
Yeah, I mean, nothing of that kind happened while after Connor was born, so hopefully he learned. Well, he lived.
I mean, he's
That's
still
all.
alive now. I know for a fact, as of 3 hours ago, he's still alive.
Mm.
So we should be good.
Yeah, so he lived.
He
We just don't
lived.
know if he learned.
We don't know this. We should ask. I should
Yeah,
ask.
And just to add a bit of context, TTO refers to a technology transfer office, which
Absolutely.
probably doesn't tell you anything because the name is not, it doesn't really give you anything to suggest what it
Right.
actually means.
Right. Technology transfer office can mean anything. But no,
Yeah, but
go on, you explain what it is.
essentially, it just refers to the office that deals with commercialization of a product. Normally, the academic is purely focused on the academics part,
Mhm.
and TTO is focused on actually making it into a commercially viable product.
Absolutely.
And because they usually have their own rules, that leads to us the pipe company filling the gap on what it's not doing. Finally, the geek environment is something we at pipe love to see, and we have discussed similar environments over the last few years of all kinds of innovation. Yeah, Rob has been doing this for many years, and the company was set up also like 3 years ago, I think. We actually see a future of regionalized centers of excellence for different types of innovation, similar to how regions grew in the past. Sheffield was known for steel, Stoke-on-Trent,
Known for potteries.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, for
That's
ceramics.
for ceramics. Yeah, this is okay. I'll wait. Let me cover this. This is my
Okay.
neck of the woods. So again, we're going to about Sheffield. Sheffield was known for steel. It's called. So actually, there's two football teams. You got Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, and when they play together, it's called the Steel City Derby. Stoke on Trent for ceramics. Now
Yeah,
Stoke on
so
Trent
Connor Steele
is.
would definitely know that
I would know this, but
because it's steel.
I am. This is little law for you. So I actually live in Stoke on Trent. My dad, sorry, not dad, Rob is also from Stoke on Trent. And Stoke on Trent is very famously called the Potteries, and Stoke City, which is the biggest football club in the city. To any Port Vale
Mm.
fans out there, um,
Stoke-on-Trent
it's
is a
called the
city.
Potteries. Stoke on Trent is a. It's like it's five towns all together into one city. So it's called Stoke.
Uh,
Stoke on Trent is the city. Yeah. For anyone that's wondering, it's between um, Manchester and Birmingham, right in the middle. So it's it's known for ceramics. It was actually one of the biggest ceramic um, providers in the whole world back in the day.
well,
During
like,
the
yeah,
industrial revolution. Yeah, it was the biggest shipper of ceramics in the world. Made them everywhere. They still have all the old kilns and stuff. It's very cool.
it's actually kind of funny because when something is known for ceramics, you would usually see a lot of bricks, brick houses, because
Yes.
normally bricks are more expensive than other materials. But like also in Spain, there are a lot of houses because Spain has a lot of ceramics. There are just very poor looking brick houses. It's just the brick on the outside. Nothing is covering the bricks. It's just the bricks. Normally, it would look weird because bricks are a lot more expensive in other countries, but here there's so much ceramics that the poor houses are those that are made of bricks with nothing else on them. But wait, are you looking to get the latest updates straight from the source? All the insider details as they happen?
Well, we've got you covered. Follow us on X to stay in the loop with both PGF and the Pipe Company. From announcements to exclusive insights, you'll be the first to know.
And don't miss our next AMA. Get your questions ready, whether you want to ask them in writing or come on air to speak directly with the experts.
It's your chance to ask anything. Hear the answers live and get the clarity you need. Just follow us on X and never miss an AMA announcement.
Stay informed, stay ahead, and get answers right from the source. Go into the link tree in the description, find our X, formerly Twitter page, and we'll see you there.
Stay on trend for ceramics. So there is no reason why we shouldn't aspire to generate these kinds of specializations again in partnerships with local universities to create the global specializations we are so good at thinking of in the UK, but so bad at executing.
Geek, in its very focused way, shows us what can be done and what I believe should be done. Rob believes should be done. But it also shows us the benefit of banging rocks together and simply trying things. Yeah, maybe it is sometimes time to be like the child who just does things.
Yeah.
You would build like a fortress out of toys and then smash it for whatever reason. It is the modern day garden shed. Sorry, James Baker. CNG, FIET, FRSA. something like that, taken into the 21st century and properly plugged into a support ecosystem. I feel like he's having like a little inside joke with James Baker there.
Maybe James Baker's watching. So if you want to say sorry, James Baker, for the little digs, he loves
Yeah.
you really. Talks about you all the time.
PIPE is a virtual version of this, designed to achieve the same levels of validation and attract funds, partners, and people who actually want to build, solve problems, and create impact. So, to paraphrase the new Colossus, I don't know what that is. Bring us your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Send these to our golden door. Hmm. If anyone knows what it's referring to, drop in the comments or something. And that'll be it for episode 9.
Hey.
And we'll see you next time.